Hi friends, and welcome back to MV Stories. Today we'll look at a few Reddit stories. Today's story comes from the the A-hole subreddit. It was posted by Jade Eyes and was titled, "Would I be the a-hole if I didn't let my daughter's father into her life?" Some background. When I, 20 female, was 16, I was in love with Matt, who was 2 years older than me. We were just friends until we started spending more time together, but we never really put a label onto our relationship, and he always dodged answering when I would ask him if we were exclusive. It wasn't long before we started sleeping together. We kept this up for a few years. Around the time I was turning 18, I find out he joined the Air Force in honor of his deceased father. He promised to keep in touch, but did the exact opposite. To my surprise, he left me a gift in the form of a baby, and I had a hard decision to make. After hearing the heartbeat, I couldn't deny that I wanted the child and decided to keep the child, and eventually gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, naming her Jade. But because our relationship was pretty hush-hush, I decided not to tell anyone who the father was. I told everyone I didn't know who he was, and it costed me my reputation. With the support of my parents and very few friends, I was able to raise my daughter into the adorable little girl she is today. And she turns 2 years old in just a few days. Well, earlier today, I went shopping with my daughter, and I bumped into Matt. Apparently, he's returned. I tried to ignore and avoid him, but he started chasing after me and asking questions about my daughter. I paid for her stuff and got home, but he followed me. It didn't take him long to piece anything together and realize that Jade was our daughter. He started begging me to be in her life. I don't really trust him to be in her life, but I'm starting to feel guilty. I don't want him to not have a relationship with his own daughter, but I don't want him to hurt her like he hurt me. Would I be the a-hole if I told him to stay the fuck away? Or should I give him a chance with her? Additional information from Opie. Opie says, adding this here because it wouldn't let me edit it into the post. The reason I kept it secret about Matt being the father is because of his mother. They're loaded, so if she found out, she would have immediately sued me for custody and taken Jade away from me. I wouldn't have one. I tried my hardest to contact him during his time in the Air Force, but he either had me blocked or chose to ignore me. The reason I'm scared to let him in her life is because Matt is not consistent. His first reaction upon seeing me was asking if we could sleep together again. He would pretend to father Jade and then decide she's too much work, so he would drop her. I don't want her to get hurt. I don't care what he did to me. I just don't want him to do it to her too. Update 1. Just about last year, I posted on Am I the a-hole asking if I should or shouldn't let my daughter's father into her life. I tried to post an update, but the community denied me, and I decided to move on since I was harshly judged anyway. But with new issues popping up, I decided to come to Reddit once more. To summarize my Am I the a-hole post, Matt, a childhood friend of mine and the man I had feelings for, and I had slept together. He left for the Air Force and left me with a baby. What I didn't mention in the post was that I tried to tell him, but he blocked me or something and refused to contact me. I've tried to go to his mother, but she refused to contact him for me and stated she'd sue me for custody of the baby if it was his. Knowing she was serious, I went with the narrative that I had no idea who the father was and raised Jade with help from my parents. 2 years passed, and I bumped into him at a store. He asked me questions about Jade and followed me home, then put together that Jade was his and asked to be in her life. Some extra information. Matt and my relationship was very hush-hush. If we went out and he saw someone he knew, he would leave me to go with them. My family used to be very close with him until his dad died, and then his mom suddenly hated us and did not want him around me. His family is also wealthy, and this was why I took it seriously when his mom threatened to sue me for custody of Jade if she knew she was Matt's. Now for the update and beyond that. I told a friend that knew both me and Matt pretty closely, and she had become my best friend. She decided to have her brother draw up a contract for me to use so that I can safely have Matt in Jade's life without me having to worry. I told Matt, and we both signed the contract, and my friend had her brother do his thing to notarize it. The first thing he asked me once everything was signed was that if this meant we could sleep with each other again. I said no and stayed firm that this wasn't for us. This was for them. It wasn't long before I learned he was engaged to someone else anyway, so I was confused on why he even asked. Whenever he came to see Jade, he would complain about his fiancée and how his mom is making him marry her. I didn't say anything about it until he started flirting with me and asking to be with me. I told him he is engaged and I am not going to be the other woman, and neither is my daughter. He proceeds to bring her to the place I work at and break up with her there, which in turn, she comes up to me and tells me that people talk and she knows what I've been doing. I felt guilty about it first, but Matt really stepped up after that happened. He became even more attentive towards Jade and spent as much time with her as possible and even revealed himself as the father to my parents and everyone else. I found myself hoping for us to become a family and rekindling my feelings for him. He convinced me that he was serious about us, and I began sleeping with him again. I had found out from someone else that he was going to be sent out again, and I confronted him and asked if he was going to tell me. He said he was, and that this time, he will keep in contact with me and Jade. He went and was doing okay for a while. He contacted us every Friday, but then suddenly he stopped contacting me. He wouldn't answer my calls or texts. It was like the past all over again. I tried asking his mom, and she just brushed me aside and told me to do a DNA test, so she can either take custody of Jade or take me to court for falsifying Matt as the father. It didn't help that I learned he was engaged once again to that woman, and that I learned that I was pregnant once again. That is where my update ended. But now I have more, which inspired me to come back to Reddit. It's been 8 months since then, and I have moved into a new house and left my old house behind. I wish I could say that I found a new love, but that's not the case. I don't even think I'd be capable of finding someone new right now, with 2 kids under my belt. I've been scared to get back out there after my experience with Matt. But that's not what I'm posting about. I think I'm afraid of what would happen when he returns in a few months. I don't know if he would come looking for us again, or if I should even let him back into our lives. I've tried for months to get a hold of him, with no success. I've even tried letters, going through friends, etc. My best friend's brother has a friend that's in his unit, and they can use phones, have service and such, but I have no idea why he pulled the disappearing act again, or why he's engaged and set to marry that woman again. Jade stopped asking for him months ago, just after he broke her heart. She's cried for him so many times. I'm happy she's forgotten him because she's back to her usual happy-go-lucky self. But I really don't think I'm going to make the mistake again and let him back into our lives. It's better without it. So you guys can judge me and tell me I'm horrible, but I know what's best for my daughter and now my son. Thank you for reading this far, and I hope I won't have to update again. To those of you that supported me, thank you. Edit. I also posted this in the comments. I want to say it's hard being so harshly judged again. My blinders for my feelings towards Matt has really caused some real issues for me and my family, and I know that's my own fault and no one else's. No, Reddit didn't tell me to sleep with him again. Reddit told me to have him in her life, which is what I did. Sleeping with him was on me, and I do know that. I should have stopped him when he refused to wear condoms. I should have just said no to sleeping with him. That's on me, and I already know that. My thing was that the community harshly shamed me for keeping Matt from Jade when I knew he was in it to get to me. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt because I did agree that Jade should have her father in her life. I've read most of the comments, and I've decided to look into getting a lawyer. I won't allow Matt in again because him leaving again really woke me up. To those who think that this is fake or there's some story out there that sounds like mine, I'm sorry you feel that way. I wish this was some story, but this is really happening to me, as unfortunate as it is. The reason I left out so much from my original post was honestly because of the word count limit. I didn't know that leaving it out would cause such a harsh judgment. Update 2. I posted on 2-Hit Takes, but for some reason people can't see it. So I'm posting on my profile. Hi everyone, I know it hasn't been a year yet. 2 more months until it is, I think. And before people speculate, no, I'm not pregnant again. I've learned my lesson. But before we get into that, I do want to clear things up. I wasn't planning on posting on Reddit again, considering the last 2 times that I did was a mess. But I had messages on Reddit. I've had a few people reach out to me that know me in real life and my story and have seen it on Reddit, and even my best friend has told me that she saw a best of Reddit update thread. I decided to log in and read through the comments. Some theories were a bit much. Matt and I are not related, but some were speculating if I was a person of color, to how Matt could tell Jade was ours. First, I want to point out the reason I left certain details out of my original post was that Am I the A-hole had a word count, and everything that I wanted to write, I had to cut. People are suspicious that I omitted important details, and I'm sorry for that. People painted me as the bad guy and a liar solely for those reasons. Other than the fact about some novel that sounded similar to my life, well, a few had sent the link in the comments or to me directly because I had wondered about it. I read some of it, but I wasn't about to pay to read the whole novel. But yeah, I was a bit shocked to say the least. Unfortunately, my life isn't some novel. If you don't want to believe that someone can go through something like I have, then I feel bad for you for thinking that life is some fantasy where people don't screw other people over. I also don't work at a bar, and I'm not struggling to make ends meet. I have 2 jobs. While I'm not rich, I can afford the lifestyle I prefer to have and can provide for my children. Anyway, people were wondering how I ended up sleeping with Matt again. Some call me naive and dumb, and maybe I was. First, I want to say that Matt was able to tell Jade was his because she's basically a carbon copy of him when he was her age, aside from her hair and eyes. The reason no one automatically assumed Matt was probably because of his mother and not wanting to piss her off, I think. Anyway, 2 weeks after we signed is when he broke it off with his fiancée after countless complaints. I still did not give him any chances with me, and I kept my composure. The next few months, he was consistent in our lives and was turning into an active father. He revealed himself to family and friends. He got to really know Jade, and he was okay with watching her while I went to work to give them chances to be alone. She started calling him daddy, and he began to beg me for us to become a family and that he truly loved me. I kept refusing him and rejecting him and only told him that we were to only co-parent because Jade needs her father in her life and that I didn't need a man. But he would start introducing me as his girlfriend and would do romantic gestures, and I realized I still had such strong feelings for him. I made him swear he wasn't going to hurt me again and in turn hurt our daughter. He promised me nothing but the world, and I, like an idiot, listened. We were intimate right away, but I would have my best friend or my parents watch Jade while we went on dates. It was the 5th date that I allowed us to begin sleeping with each other again. Now, people wondered and theorized why his mother suddenly hated me and my family. I think I'm going to mention that we're all white here, but I'm not sure why race was brought into the comments. Matt's father had a soft spot for my parents, and in turn me. While we're not related at all, Matt's father thought of my parents as the siblings he wished he had. I call him Uncle and Matt's mother, Annie. It seemed like we were all a happy family. After Matt's father passed away, Matt's mother cut us off. When asked why, she said that we didn't deserve her friendship because we weren't up to her family standards. That is also when Matt started to change, and we had to sneak around. Matt's mother has always seemed to have a great influence on our town. The reason I was so afraid when she started threatening to sue me for custody of Jade is because she uses her wealth as a matter of power. Anyone who opposes her in any way, she somehow pays her way to get them kicked out of town. If I had found any lawyers, important to note, she would simply throw money at them and no one would be on my side. That is just how much influence she has. So, on to the update. After the first flood of comments and messages I was getting, I logged off from Reddit after reading a bit. Most advised me to look for a lawyer, and that was the first thing that I was determined to do. It took me just about a month and a half to find a lawyer that I hoped wouldn't be influenced by Matt's mother, just to be disappointed in the end, because they were being paid to send her updates. I cut off contact with that lawyer and wasn't sure what to do with myself. I had just moved into a new house, but I was already just considering moving and leaving my town. I was sick of it anyway and was tired of constantly being judged anytime I was out with Jade and my son, who I will call Jack. I ended up talking with my best friend. I don't think I gave her a name, so I will call her Amy, and my parents about my thoughts on leaving. My parents are on board. They became sick of living in the town too, but Amy was a bit hesitant about leaving as she enjoyed our small town. I told Amy it was her decision, and I didn't expect her to drop her life to leave with me, as my purpose of leaving was to start new and to get away from Matt's mother and Matt himself. The last few months were spent with my parents and I, looking into which new state to move into to start our new lives. Our plan was to just buy a duplex so that my parents could be available to watch the kids while I worked. So we decided to look for that first to secure a place. Meanwhile, I was looking for jobs. It took a little while for everything to be finalized as I had to sell my new house and my parents had to sell theirs, and then we had to buy the duplex too. We hired movers and opted to have them finish in one day. My parents had movers at theirs and I had movers at mine, so we can start our journey out of Texas and our town without having to deal with Matt's mother and her goonies. It was so freeing once we crossed state lines. We drove to our new home, and the distance made us feel 100% better. For our safety, I will not be revealing the state we moved into. All I can say is that we are far from Texas. We've been here for 4 months now, and as much as we've had our ups and downs, it's been worth every downfall we encountered so far. I found 2 new jobs, and I made a bunch of friends that have been my support system. Amy still doesn't want to leave our town, but she knows if she wants to see me, then she has to be the one to visit because I'm never going back. And she's completely fine with that and understands why I'd never visit. So far, she's told me that Matt has returned and has been looking for me, but refuses to tell him where I am. She knows what state. But until she visits, I have yet to tell her which city/town and have not given her my address as a precaution. She has also agreed to this. I'm sure he's tried to reach out, but since moving I've gotten a new phone and new number. Unless he's found me, I don't care what he does with his life, because I'm out of it. At least for now, I do plan to tell my kids about their father someday. Along with the decision of if they want him in their lives or not, is completely up to them. If they decide they want a relationship with their father, I will reach out. But until then, cold turkey. Maybe this isn't the ending people were expecting to read, much less hear. A lot of commenters were hoping I'd get his unit involved or something, make it a whole thing, and possibly have him ostracized. Get child support, get medical insurance for them, have them set for life. The thing is, they're set. Again, I'm not rich, but I can provide a decent lifestyle for these kids. I don't need and have never needed anything from Matt. As much as I would love for them to know their father, he just wasn't cut out to be one. He goes to Jade and broke her heart before she stopped asking for him. Who's to say he wouldn't do it again? And worse, not just to Jade, but to Jack too. They don't deserve a deadbeat. As far as I'm concerned, he's just their sperm donor until I tell them about him. We're much happier with the path that I decided to choose. We're thriving thousands of miles away. Jade has made friends, and so have I. I'm on birth control, regardless of me not sleeping with anyone at the moment, nor do I plan to. I'm in therapy, and we all agree that I'm also not ready for a romantic relationship. I have 2 jobs, and I'm also taking online classes and taking my time with it since it allows me to pace myself. Life is good. Will I update again? I don't know. Maybe if something major changes. Like if Matt finds me, or if I end up finding someone down the line. Or maybe when I'm ready to tell the kids about Matt and they decide, or not, to have a relationship with him. Or maybe I'll just forget and live my life without looking back at the bullshit I had to endure. Either way, I want to thank every single person who has commented on every single one of my posts. The good, the bad, the crazy theories, the speculations, the judgments, opinions, and more. Thank you for the support, the messages asking if I'm okay, messages giving me advice, messages asking me for pictures, and even those messages that tried telling me that I just need to off myself and stop procreating and spreading my stupidity. I don't know if the woman in that novel had a good ending or not, but I hope she did. The second story is from Relationships subreddit. It was posted by Kippers5 and was titled, Me with My Boyfriend of 7 Months. He has been blocking a lot of my male friends on my Facebook without my knowledge. Made a throwaway as my BF knows my account. This came to my attention because I was meeting with a group of my friends when one of them asked me if I had deleted my Facebook. I haven't, and asked why he thought this, and he said it was because I had disappeared from his Facebook. He said I must have blocked him then, which I was sure I hadn't, but I got my phone out and checked where I discovered he had been blocked, along with a whole bunch of my friends/acquaintances, all male, who I know I hadn't blocked. I was 99% sure it was my boyfriend who had done it. I let him use my computer, so it would have been real easy for him to do it. Also, when we first started dating seriously, he got a little jealous about a guy I messaged sometimes, totally platonic, and asked me to delete him. With this guy, I did understand why my BF didn't like it, because I did have a bit of history with him. At least in this case, my BF talked to me about it first, and why it made him uncomfortable, so I was fine with it. However, I find him blocking my friends on Facebook for no reason, without telling me, weird and a little controlling. I confronted him, and he admitted it straight away, like it was no big deal. I told him it makes me feel like he doesn't trust me, and that is kind of hurtful. He said it wasn't that he doesn't trust me, but he doesn't trust my friends. What does he think is going to happen? In the unlikely scenario that one of them did message me sexually or whatever, does he not think I can handle myself? Again, it just feels like he doesn't trust me. He told me it's not a big deal, and it's normal for guys to be protective of their girlfriends, but I don't feel like that at all. He genuinely doesn't seem to understand why it upset me. I could be overreacting a little, but I hate that he did this behind my back. I thought we had a really good relationship, and he has no reason to not trust me. I kind of wanted to rant about this and get some reassurance that it isn't normal, or maybe it is, I don't know, but I haven't had a BF do anything like this before. Relevant comments. Captain Corelli says, massive red flag, jealousy issues. He said it wasn't that he doesn't trust me, but he doesn't trust my friends. The same excuse every time. He doesn't trust you because if he did, he'd know you'd actually have some say in someone attempting to make a move. Insecure guys like him seem to think you're naive or have no say in it. It's insulting, and it's the deflective way of saying, I don't trust you, he doesn't trust you. Why are you with someone who doesn't? He told me it's not a big deal, and it's normal for guys to be protective of their girlfriends, but I don't feel like that at all. He's delusional to boot. Change your passwords on social media. Explain first the massive privacy issue, and that is why he no longer gets access. Because he cannot be trusted. Then he gets his arse to therapy straight away, because this is not how a healthy relationship works. If he refuses, go, because he doesn't understand why his behavior is wrong, and the controlling and jealous behaviors will get worse if he doesn't seek help. Oprah replied, thanks, I didn't need to hear something like this. I will talk to him again, but I can pretty much guarantee he would laugh at even the idea that he needs therapy. Maybe it is over, it just seems to have come out of nowhere. Toldiaso says, this isn't probably what you want to hear, but when a 28-year-old man starts dating a 22-year-old woman and takes the initiative to block her friends on Facebook, at that point, it's not a coincidence that there's an age gap. He's dating you because of the age gap, not in spite of it. He thinks that because you're so much younger, that he can control and manipulate you. If he tried that shit with a woman his own age, she'd dump him immediately. He thinks he can get away with it because you're so young and inexperienced. Show him he's wrong about that by getting away from him. Yesterday, Oprah replied, I've had people comment on the age gap before. I never thought it was an issue. I don't think it's that big, but maybe it is a factor. He obviously has more relationship experience than me, so maybe he thought he could get away with it. Update. Wow. Okay, so this has been a tough week, but I'm starting to think positive about what has happened and realize it is probably a good thing to be out of the relationship. The replies to my post were pretty much unanimously telling me it was a sign of him trying to control me, and this got me thinking about so many other things in our relationship. I could have been over-analyzing things, but there were so many other aspects I think I overlooked because I just thought he loved me, but really were him trying to be controlling. That night, I felt so weird and stupid that I hadn't noticed things earlier, but I really couldn't face talking to him right then. I wanted more time to think about everything. I was supposed to be going to his place that night, so I texted him telling him I couldn't go. This pissed him off, and he kept trying to call me, but I really didn't want to talk to him, so I just told him I would call him tomorrow. He didn't stop, though, and was texting me telling me to answer my phone. So I eventually gave in and did. He asked me what was wrong, and I told him the Facebook thing had upset me, and I didn't like him trying to control me. He then said I was only getting upset because I had a guilty conscience. This made me so mad that I told him if he really thinks I have cheated on him, then fine. It's over, and I hung up. I was so fuming mad and hurt that I had a determination to ignore all his calls and messages for the rest of the night. However, The next day, when we had both calmed down, I agreed to meet him. He was doing that thing when he acted like everything was okay and tried to hug and kiss me when I saw him, but I pushed him away. So we talked, but never once did he apologize or back down and admit what he did was not okay. He was standing by his stance of he doesn't trust them and was trying to twist into a compliment that these guys can't help themselves. I met up with him with a little hope that he would apologize and we could maybe try and work it out, but his reaction made me realize that we couldn't. I told him he was full of shit and that he was trying to control me and I don't want to be with him anymore. He got mad, called me all kinds of names, but in some ways that made it easier for me and reassured me that I was doing the right thing. We had no contact for a couple days, but then he started calling me and leaving messages, telling me he was sorry and he loved me. I probably shouldn't have, but I agreed to see him again, and he told me he only did it because he didn't want to lose me, etc., but I just got the feeling he was trying to tell me what he thought I wanted to hear. I just knew that it was over and told him. He got mad again, and his parting words were something like, "Fine, go and be a fucking whore then," which was upsetting to hear from the man I thought loved me. But if that is his opinion of me, then he is not the guy for me. I have not heard anything from him for a few days now, so hopefully I could try and get over it soon.